The Seminole headlines, not on 93.3 Real Talk Radio today, at least not today. Warchant TV, though, yeah, definitely there, and in your podcast, so that's a good thing. I'm Jeff, there's Ira, there's Corey, and we want to say as we start, yay, sausage, right off the bat. Unusual week. People are going around doing a bunch of different things. Man, I just got back from New York. Corey was on vacation. I was about to go to Omaha, but we did want to get you some content, so away we go, and as always, we thank our friends at Register Sausage. Ira, take it away.
So we're all still kind of in the afterglow, I think, of Sausage Fest 2024 from a couple of weeks ago. But we don't have to wait for the next party. There's going to be, obviously, registermeats.com is the website. You can have it delivered to your house wherever you live. Ben, I was talking to Ben at the sausage party, and I think he said that they've had some shipments to Alaska, I think.
Whoa.
Now,
I'm not buying that.
It's a little dicey because, again, like those records could be subpoenaed as part of a trial.
Be careful, Ben.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
We're not feeding serial killers.
But otherwise, if you're in this part of the country, expanding by the day from over in the Panhandle into Alabama, all the way down to Tampa, Jacksonville, up the coast into the Carolinas, Register Sausage is at your local grocery store. And if they don't have it, talk to your meat manager and make it happen.
Is there no promo code? Is there no OMAHA promo code this week?
He did one when they won the regional. I'm not sure if he did one with the supers, but what's the promo code gonna? It's gonna be free sausage for the world, I think. If they
giant sausage. Yeah. You really have elevated your game.
If they win it at Omaha.
Yeah, if they go out and win in Omaha. Corey, are you supposed to at one of these times here, maybe in the near future, do an hour two?
I was texted that you're on the hook for one for this.
Am I on the hook for this or for when they win it?
Well, we got to go back and check the tapes, boys, but there was some sort of mention of an hour two for achievement belonging to the College World Series.
Does anybody move the goalposts like Corey Clark?
It's not. Hey, I'll do it. I own up, Ira. I own up to what I say. I just didn't remember if I said I would do it if they won it, because that obviously that would deserve an hour number two for a whole month.
Well, I think if they win it, we're going to harmonize hour number two to the three of us. It'll be like the effing Beatles out here.
It'll be the Boys to Men. We'll be holding our.
We'll sing hour number two in a round if they win it.
Yeah, we might be more BBD than Boys to Men.
Also, I don't want to welch if I did agree to do it if they got to Omaha, but it's not going to be the same if I'm not in studio.
We're not doing it today.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Do we even have an hour number two?
No, we're not doing it today. This is one big link of goodness. There's no divider. Okay. So, we're not doing that. By the way, the Bell Biv DeVoe reference, Ira, is well done. Yeah, I remember thinking the spinoff in Bell Biv DeVoe, like, wow, these guys are onto something. They know. They don't need Bobby Brown. They're moving on. Things are going to happen. But it just didn't.
No, it was not. Poison was great, but it was that was
all
about
they had. That's fine, though. It's more than we had. They got their one hit.
Turns out they needed Bobby.
Bobby did okay for himself.
Yeah, he did all right until the crack. Okay, so now there's that. Hey, by the way, later today on the Jeff Cameron Show, there will be an interview with Brad Vanderglass, the assistant coach at Florida State. Guys, I know we all do our things. We all do separate interviews. We all have separate shows and moments. You guys will like this interview, man. That guy's awesome. I had a fun conversation with him. At one point, he was coaching in Robinson, Illinois. So I looked it up. There are 7,000 people in Robinson, Illinois. He was there for 3 years. You know how much you have to love baseball?
Yeah.
Do you know how much you have to love baseball? Sweet Jesus. So a little behind the scenes beyond Link and beyond Micah, and those guys. I got somebody else talking about this run and what it's been like. But why don't we address it? Why don't we address the fact that they didn't lose a game in the postseason, boys? I mean, I get Florida State fans say to me all the time, and certainly in the second game they did this, where they text you or tweet at you or email you, it's never easy with this team. Hey, man, they didn't lose to Evansville. They didn't have to go to a third game and lose at home in Athens like Georgia did to NC State. We didn't. None of that nonsense. Florida State wasn't Arkansas, who was a top 10 team all year and got bounced in the sub-regional. It was easy. In the tune of 24-4 and no losses in any of the regional games. Yeah, you played one close game. Well, I would hope in a postseason baseball run, this was as easy as it gets.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that you just broke out sub-regional for the first time, I think, this year, because that used to be your go-to.
I'm
But
a
this year,
sub-regional, super regional kind of guy. I don't like this newfangled way they do things. Sub and
uh,
super, it'll always be.
I like
yeah,
sub and dom, a
all
sub
right.
regional and a dom regional.
I like, yeah, okay, that's something to think
So-
about. We'll take that under advisement.
All right.
But yeah, I think that was the thing I felt about the regional was that some people were like, oh, well, the bullpen came through, and it's like, yeah, one guy came through.
One guy.
It really wasn't the bullpen. It was, just basically one dude. And then this past week, when you had to go to a couple other arms, got a little dicey there for a minute. So
Well, he screwed that up on in the second game. Totally screwed that up. And I would have hated to see him suffer the consequences of that mistake because he's been so good all year long. But if you're going to pitch Whitaker at all, you start him in the ninth. It's just dumb.
I think it would have been earlier even.
Well, fine, but you don't do what they did.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do like when he did it. I like that he was all in.
Oh, well,
that at that point, man, like just you got to win it because you don't want to get to Sunday.
no, because then you would have had to start Armstrong and Abraham, and then you would have had to score 20 runs.
But again, yeah. Hey, listen, it set the stage for James Tibbs to be James Tibbs, so it worked out all right.
Where are we ranking that, boys? All of us have been around a long time. All of us have seen. I mean, I may be the oldest in terms of covering this team. I was there. You guys all were, I believe, for the Buster Posey heroics in 08. I go back to many of the sub and super regionals, Ira, when J.D. Drew and Jeremy Morris and the like were dominating the days, and John Ford Griffin. But this is up there in one of the greatest performances of all time in Florida State baseball history.
Yeah, especially what he did to be in the postseason, and all of them to matter. Like he had to hit 3 2-run homers, or they would have played the next game without any real good pitching left. So those were really important ones. It wasn't like you just I think Matt Diaz had 4 home runs in a postseason game once, but they won that game like 15-2 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
This was. I don't know where you rank it. I would always say I've never seen anything like Buster's 2008 postseason. Sub-regional or dom regional. Yeah. He went up because remember they lost to Bucknell.
Yeah.
In that first game, in his numbers in elimination games were out of control.
Yeah.
And they lost the first game to Wichita State, and then he did what he did all year. So, but for one game, I put it up right up there with anything that's ever happened at that school, and it's really cool for him because unlike Buster, and unlike JD, and unlike Jeremy Morris and Luis Alicea and all the other ones. They didn't live through what James Tibbs lived through the last 2 years. They were used to playing home games in the postseason. They were used to going to Omaha and winning a lot of games. James Tibbs being able to do that, James Tibbs still being here and then doing what he did in that stage was really cool.
Yeah, I thought best case scenario, I was looking for, man, just, maybe hit a double, get another hit, keep the rally going. Because in your mind, when he comes up to the plate, I'm thinking, there's no way he's going to hit another 2-run bomb. And I'm like, but, maybe just get a hit. Just get a hit. Keep this going. And then sure enough, man, that thing landed. It would have put a hole in the circus if the circus was still there.
Hey, credit, by the way, to Marco. He did enough in the well, he's done enough all season. He's been awesome. But if he isn't him, you're not. Yeah, James Tibbs didn't get anything to hit, man. But you got somebody on deck that poses a big enough threat that you can't just put the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Good news is, although there were several cheap home runs on both sides because of that fence that has been obviously compromised, none of his were cheap. None of Tibbs were cheap. Every one of them were pissed on. Every one of them were bombs. And that last one, it's funny, Ira, when you see a guy who has figured it out and then you watch a pitcher get behind, you start to buck conventional wisdom because we all like to play manager in our head. And in my head, I said, if I'm them, I don't care how good Marco Dingus is. It's 2-0. I'm not pitching to this guy. Both 3-1 pitches were crushed, and we all knew that was coming if he got a fastball. And then in that situation, the pitcher fell behind again, and I thought, I'm not giving him the chance to do it again. I'd take my chances with Marco Dingus. Sorry, I'm not letting him hit a fastball. I'm not throwing a strike. I'm not throwing a strike.
Especially because after Marco, isn't Jaime because he's been removed from the game.
He's been removed from the game. Yes.
I think it's Diamez after Marco. So it's not like you're like, well, yeah, I could walk Tibbs, but then I got to face Marco and Ferrer. They're really good too. I mean, Diamez can get you a hit, but he's not Ferrer. So yeah, it was kind of a brain dead decision by UConn, Ira. I don't know what UConn headlines is talking about today, but it's got to be how do you keep pitching to that kid?
The other thing, man, like even with his heroics, though, right? The things they needed to kind of go right to get that win. I mean, like Diamez Ross, you mentioned that play he makes in center field is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then the
you get a Jackson West home run,
the Jackson West home run, and then a huge play that we didn't write about
that catch.
But now I was talking about the pickoff that goes into right field.
Yeah,
that allows FSU to walk UConn's best hitter. Because if that kid's still at first base, they're probably going to pitch to that kid. Yeah. And he might hit another bomb. That kid had 6 RBIs. But instead, they got to walk him, and they end up getting out of the inning. So, I mean, that was a huge play.
Baseball's funny that way. All these things add up, right? The Ferreau catch is what I was referencing, if people don't know, over the shoulder. If that ball
how about that?
That was phenomenal. It was. I don't know if I've ever seen a play where that was a snow cone as he's tumbling. Like it was a snow cone the whole time. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
There's cool moments throughout, but they do sweep. And, look, they could win the whole thing. I still don't think they will. They have to get everything out of their starters in these games. Certainly can't lose to Tennessee. I mean, you win this game, I would assume it's going to be Arnold. We go back to him now. I would assume we're going to find out later today. At the time that we're recording here, we don't know.
Yeah, by the time people hear this, they may already know because Link Jarrett's going to talk later this morning, so we'll know for sure. Probably know for sure. I would assume they'll go Jamie Arnold. I'll tell you what, though, man, is Connor Whitaker your 2 now? I mean, if he could throw 80 pitches, he was phenomenal.
No, it's not like Carson Dorsey sucked either, though.
No.
Yeah, and also, Dorsey's been as good as Arnold in the postseason, and I like Whitaker being able to. Say you got a 6-2 lead against Tennessee in the 7th.
Yeah,
Arnold's at 108. You can bring Whitaker in to pitch those final 2 innings if you need to, and still start him for Game 3.
Because man, I've always thought he was a nice college pitcher, but UConn's lineup is legit, man, and he just handcuffed them. He was. I mean,
he's been really good since he's gotten back. He really has been. But I like him being able to get you some outs in Game 1.
The cool thing
is,
Game
3.
If you go back, the previous outing, the penultimate outing we've seen from him, Whitaker, that is, he had 61 pitches. And I thought at that time that portends of him being able to throw 70 or 80, to your point, Ira. And he's efficient. He doesn't walk a lot of people. And he throws strikes, and he stays low in the zone. They don't hit him out of the park. I think you do have him back almost to full strength as a bona fide 3. And we know this about Omaha, the way it's set up now. You really only need 2 frontline pitchers and 2 bullpen arms in total. That's you don't need much else the way it spaces out.
If you keep winning.
Yeah, if you keep winning. In the old days, if you fell into the loser's bracket, pack your stuff and get on a plane. This was over. You had no chance very little chance to fight your way out of the loser's bracket back in the day. You can now. I don't think this team can, but you can now.
But with their offense, they'll have a shot.
They got a shot. They got a shot.
Because there's really, I mean, it's you got to really be a pretty dominant pitcher to keep this offense in check. And they're because I mean, the kid that shut down Oklahoma for 11 innings or whatever over 2 games got bombed by Florida State.
He got pissed on. Yeah. I will say this. I am interested to see how both Florida State and Tennessee's offense responds to a ballpark that at times can be cavernous.
Right.
Both these teams have hit a gazillion home runs and relied heavily on hitting the ball out of the ballpark all year long. What happens to these 2 teams and their mental approach at the plate if all of a sudden we're back to the TD Ameritrade moment where we're like, you can't hit the ball out of the damn ballpark? Whole lot of line drives, boys. Hunt the alleys. Hunt the alleys.
How many of the home runs that Florida State hit this weekend?
Yeah,
are definitely home runs. 2 of Tibbs. I think the first one Tibbs hit is caught because he hit it to center field. And even though he hit it 412 feet at Hauser, it probably goes 395 out there, and they catch it on the track. I think Ferrer, the one he hit off the scoreboard, is a home run.
It's gone.
Obviously, Jackson West is an out.
What was
Both of Max
Dingus?
Williams is an out. Marco hit one. He hit one to dead center and the other one to right. They're not out.
The one to right's not a home run. The one to right's a single at Hauser if the fence is right.
Yeah,
probably. He hit it so hard, I don't think he gets to second.
So but this park, I guess I shouldn't say this because the ball's kind of changed last year.
I was going to say that. The ball is different than it was.
But I don't know. How did it do? I haven't looked it up. I don't know how many home runs
they hit home runs last year, Corey. People hit home runs last year. Yeah.
Okay. It probably not as much as, but Tennessee, as much as Florida State has relied on the long ball, Tennessee has hit 50 more home runs than Florida State.
Yeah.
They have 173 home runs. So they rely on it even more. And yeah, man, you're gonna have to get some doubles. You have to hit line drives and move it along. You can't wait or settle for the 3-run homer. I think in that game against UConn, the second game, Florida State was like 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. If you do that in Omaha, you can't win. You're gonna have to get some big hits with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, and not wait on 5 home runs in one game.
It also felt like in that game, it felt like they got runners in scoring position with 2 outs a lot of times. Like
they did, and they couldn't get that. Yeah. They couldn't get that one hit like they did the day before. But hey, you know what? They won.
Yeah.
Who left a lot of people in scoring position yesterday, Corey?
The Atlanta Braves. Yeah, I know.
They did.
I tell you guys, I don't remember a Braves team in my lifetime. And remember, my dad started season tickets in 1981, so I lived through the 80s, which was pure. Just
a little bit poker-oba for that ass.
Oh my gosh. I don't remember a worse Braves offense than this one right now. It's crazy how bad they are offensively. Well, I can tell you this, when I'm in a sports book and there's a parlay for the Braves to lose and to score under 5 runs, Daddy's hammering that. So I made a little money off it at least.
I'd like to point out that I too have made a little bit of money, and oddly enough, Pittsburgh Pirates are a robust 7-3 against the likes of the Braves, Orioles, and Dodgers. Yeah. So I just thought I'd point out, 3 of the best teams in baseball really don't match up well with the Pirates.
Two of the best teams in baseball.
I was going to say the Braves don't qualify for that anymore, buddy. They have fallen off a cliff. I do have season tickets this year for people that don't know. I've done that the last 2 years. Mainly because postseason tickets are so expensive. It's worth buying season tickets to get cheaper postseason tickets. Yeah. Well, that's a wash.
Hey, you guys, there's only, was there 4 NL teams with winning records?
I know, but they're one of them, but they're going in the wrong direction. They're going to be sellers by the trade deadline.
They'll figure it out. But yeah, man, this team, it is amazing. I'm working on a story on Link that'll be up on the website this week. Talking to some people that, from back in the day, some of the people that helped him early in his career and played with him, and his high school coach, Jeff Hogan, who's a great Nole. And it really is. I mean, there's no way to overstate. I know you guys have both talked about this on your guys' shows, Wake Up and the JCS. This coaching job is unbelievable. I mean, it's almost impossible to even, kind of wrap our minds around how bad that program was a year ago. And I don't know that the program is fixed. I mean, there's still a lot of problems in this program in terms of facilities, which Jeff's been bitching about for a decade or more,
15 years.
And, just the salary, the NIL salary structure and all that in college baseball. I mean, there's a lot of issues that there's a lot of headwinds still ahead of them. But man, you can't. It's almost impossible to explain how good of a coaching job he's done. It may be the best single year coaching job that any of us have covered. I mean, it really might be.
It is crazy that he wasn't. I don't know who won ACC Coach of the Year, but it wasn't him. And I'm sure they had a great year too. But this has been unbelievable. I think it's because it's Florida State. You're supposed to be good, and you don't really look upon what he did, what happened last year or the last 3 years before that. But is he the best coach in America? Like, does Florida State legitimately have the best college baseball coach in America?
He might
in the conversation. There's some good ones, but
you won't be able to say that. Unfortunately, I know we know that you can rationally say that and be correct and not have a national championship victory. But it gets a little harder when you're having the grand debate when there's a coach out there that has 2 or 3 or 4 national titles.
Yeah, there's Corbin at Vanderbilt. There's O'Sullivan. Their resumes are better. But
Yeah.
I guess I'm asking right now, the
Yeah.
way you guys have watched this program, would you trade Link Jarrett for
Probably-
Corbin? Would you
probably
trade him
not.
for
No,
O'Sullivan?
no. Well, first of all, I wouldn't want O'Sullivan to like be around
Be in
human
the
beings
city
in
limits?
community.
You
Yeah,
would
I
want
don't.
him in the
I
city
don't. I
limits.
don't want that piece of human filth to be anywhere near Tallahassee. But I would also. I would also say. Okay, so to Ira's point, and I brought this up to him on my show on Monday. But Corey, I pulled a you. I said something that might be viewed as hyperbole, but I believe it to be true, so I went with it. And I want to know if you agree. I said that Link Jarrett is so good, I believe it to be an inevitability that Florida State will win a national championship, maybe multiple national championships under Link Jarrett. I think it's going to happen. I think it's a foregone conclusion, knowing that baseball is baseball and that weird things happen and you can get really unlucky and all of that. He's going to win a national championship at Florida State. I believe they have the right guy, and I think he's going to be the right guy for a long effing time.
I wouldn't bet against it.
I don't think I would either, but it's just, man, it's so hard. We as Florida State fans know, and they had a really good coach that couldn't do it out there. But yeah, he does seem to have something pretty remarkable about him. I can't get over what he did 2 or 3 years ago at Notre Dame, and then immediately doing the same thing at Florida State. It wasn't a one trick. He's done it now at 2 different places. And he's gotten Omaha at 2 different places and been really good in the ACC in 2 different places. Because I was trying to compare it to Norvell. Like Norvell got his team to the Cotton Bowl. He got him to a BCS Bowl, which was great. It's a great accomplishment. But he wasn't playing in the SEC or the ACC. He just had to win that conference. He was the best team in a bad conference. Leak now has had the 2 really good teams.
Hey man, they had a national champion UCF squad in that conference. So you just check yourself.
You're right, Ira. I thought it was a little bit of a down year for our national champion Knights. That's why he was able to take advantage of getting to the Cotton Bowl. So that's why I think this is even different than Norvell. Like this guy has done it at 2 in the same conference with 2 different schools is really remarkable. And yeah, I know it matters to him. And I know I made this point, and it's probably a dumb one, but it's like the fact that he talks about it like he does and is willing to embrace what is missing in this program I think is really unique. And I think that it means something to him. And I think that yeah, man, I don't think he will just I don't think he's the kind of guy that accepts his fate of we got out there, we just didn't get close. I think it will drive him maniacally to win a national championship.
2 things about that, though. I think what it represents. I think there's no fear to address the elephant in the room. You're not hiding from the fact that that's the expectation. So good, you embrace that. And then number 2, I think it's about the day-to-day operations and the attention to detail that lead to that ultimate achievement, and not this like dream. I think it's this understanding that if we do this, there's no way we can't. And so you go about the day-to-day process, like watch the satisfaction on his face, not the celebratory mode, but the satisfaction of seeing kids achieve because they did things the way he wanted them to do them. It's like a checklist along the way. Oh, well, good. They're figuring this out. They got more mature today. They understood how to respond in this situation today. This is the stuff I tell my coaches. This is the stuff I tell my kids that we need to be able to instill on a daily basis in order to achieve this ultimate goal. So I think for him, it's just kind of like, these are steps along the way. It's almost like a Nick Saban approach where if it finally happens, he'll be satisfied for 30 seconds and then think about how they're going to try to do it again the next year. It's crazy. Like I believe he builds his days that way.
I'm also, I think the way he talked about immediately after that game, he was talking about how the experience at Omaha last time when he took Notre Dame out there after they stunned Tennessee and they were the darlings of college baseball, how that experience helped him prepare for this one, I think is important because you don't know until you go through that. And he talked about, he's like, man, that Friday night at Omaha is like, it's like a NFL playoff. It's like, I mean, it is. It might sound silly to say that, but I think the atmosphere and the energy in the park in that moment is going to be like that, especially when you're talking about a Florida State team that's got the brand of Florida State. And then you're playing that Tennessee team who's number 1 in the country, the numbers they put up.
Such a likable coach at Tennessee,
guys. It's a likable group of kids. I just think, man, the energy is going to be – I can't wait to be there.
Not like the choir boys in Tallahassee.
But I like the fact that Link has had that experience. I think that's going to help him. It's going to help this team, I think, Friday.
Oh, I agree, and it's certainly true, Corey. By the way, that look, we're watching it all over college baseball. I'm sure it rubs anybody over the age of 40 the wrong way, but that coach at Tennessee, how many people reposting his ridiculous post game this week and calling him heroic? It's just I can't deal.
I didn't see it, thankfully.
It is weird how it happens all the time on Twitter, where somebody will share something like some press conference, some soliloquy.
Usually it's out of context, but yeah.
And then they'll be like, look at this. Who wouldn't want to run through a wall for this guy?
This is the greatest guy amongst all guys.
And a lot of times I'll watch him, and sometimes I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. Like that, I like it. And I watch that one, I'm like, what? What do we – what?
So he was trying to refute
he was all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. The question was, if they hadn't won the game, Corey, against Evansville, game 3, Evansville. If they hadn't won the game, would their season have been a disappointment? Would it have been unsuccessful? It pissed him off, and he goes, oh, well, I want to talk a little bit about success and what it means on a day-to-day basis. I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus, get the hell up out of here. You're at Tennessee. You've got resources for days. You were the number 1 ranked team in the country. Evansville, sorry ass, finds a way into the postseason as a 4 seed in that sub-regional, by the way. And then you are on
They get to the Dom, and they win one of the games.
Yeah. So don't give me this, we define success differently than you in the media. Yeah. You're not here on a regular basis. And, stop.
And I didn't have when Giannis had his thing.
Right. I didn't mind that.
I didn't mind that because I do feel like, man.
He's also 1-1.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, man, if you're playing at that level and you've had the season they've had, it's not like you're a failure. I've never been a huge,
it's not all of one or the other, Ira.
Exactly.
But you can say right. you can identify a season as disappointing or
if you lose. Yeah, exactly. Especially
you can certainly say
2 out of 3 to Evansville at home.
Yeah, that would be a horrible ending. That would be a horrible ending to a good season, is the way you would phrase that. But I guess if Florida State blows a 5-1 game out in Omaha, does that mean it was a disappointing season? No, and maybe that was the message he was trying to say, but yeah.
But that would be a different context than what Tennessee.
And then losing to Evansville, best 2 out of 3. But yeah, man, that'll be interesting too, especially if Arnold is pitching on Friday night, which he needs to be.
Yeah,
that crew against Florida State's crew. It's like a Royal Rumble, man. They shouldn't even be in the dugout. Both teams should be just lining the foul lines.
Should it be a little bit like you see with the caddy girls that do the dance offs and all of the fitness thing, like the cheerleading battles? I think you could have, what was that name of that movie where they did that?
Bring It On.
This is a little bit like Bring It On. They can get on each other and scream after a walk, and then the pitcher can, after a strikeout, scream back, and we can see who's got the more demonstrative screams after a banal success moment.
There's going to be a lot of it.
Hopefully, we know Jamie Arnold's going to bring it. It'll hopefully the Tennessee pitcher, and I know that Corey wrote about it today. They use kind of have that the Rays approach.
Johnny Holstaff. They don't have starting pitching really.
I would also tell you that I hope, and I do think that the NCAA will probably, unfortunately, have to address this. Can we get a handle on these umpires? That Clemson Florida thing was a travesty.
What was the deal?
The guy behind home plate was personally offended by player celebration. Personally, you could see it hurt him in his soul. He hated those kids. He wanted to put his hands on them.
Both teams.
Both of them. Yeah. Look, I don't like it, but until there is a rule put in place that you can't celebrate a walk or scream at the top of your lungs or toss your bat after a walk, you're just going to have to let it go, buddy. You can roll your eyes, but you can't get so offended that a dude hits a home run and you're trying to throw him out of the game. That was insane.
A go-ahead home run in the 12th inning of a super regional.
And then we're throwing up the coaching staff.
Yeah.
In the Tallahassee Dom regional, they had it might have been in the regular, it might have been the sub-regional too. We got the umpires running around the bases to make sure Cam Smith's not doing anything crazy. It's just it is a weird. We all agree it's kind of gotten out of control.
The kids got to get a handle on themselves. They do.
But man, these umpires, it's like watching substitute teachers in middle school.
There's a whole lot of clutch their pearls moments from these umpires right now. After like a strikeout, when a kid screams coming off the field, or a walk is earned and the guy starts taking off all of his stuff emphatically, they're like, oh, what are you doing? You're showing him up. They're very upset by this.
I feel like if you wear that stuff on your arm and your elbow and all the armor, your ankle brace, everything, if you wear that to the batter's box, you have to run the bases in it. That's my rule. If I was baseball commissioner, whatever you wear to start your offensive inning is what stays on your body the whole time.
Or if the pitcher hits a spot of your body that doesn't have armor on it, he should get like a bonus.
It's a strike. It's a strike.
Yeah. That's right. It puts the onus on hitting somebody the right way.
Yeah, right.
The inner elbow, maybe.
Oh, yeah. You got to catch that ulnar. Yeah. That's good. Also, I believe the next evolution for celebratory moments after a walk or a bloop single in the first of a tie ball game would be that you take off that equipment and you slap the catcher across the face.
Like a duel, like you're starting a duel in the 1800s.
You're pithy enough to just slap him across the face with your armor.
By the way, Jeff, I don't know if you realize I did put a call out for questions, and I don't know if
we're about to get to the question.
Okay, I want to make sure. I didn't know if Corey did.
I did not. Only because I knew it was abbreviated and you already had. We don't need to overflow the show with.
We're gonna start the questions in a second. Corey, fix your effing camera.
No,
just
it blurs
in and out.
I know.
Blurry in and out.
Don't look at him. Just look at me, Jeff. Just look at me.
I'm going to get a whole new computer before football season. How about that?
A whole new one.
How about that?
With your winnings from Biloxi.
Yeah, there you go.
I did win some from. How about this? So. Real quick, Warchant won me a lot of money. I had to go do a podcast on Sunday night in Biloxi. I was with my buddies, just playing video poker. Put $100 in the machine. You sit there. You're at the bar. I have $20 left. I'd been betting $2 bets. I'm like, you know what? I got to go record with Aslan. Let me just hit max bet. Get rid of this $20. It's $10 is the most you can bet. So, big money. I hit max bet on this poker machine, and I get 4 twos. 2 ace.
That's a good hand.
It's a great hand. So I've already won, and I didn't know this though. So there's all these different ways you can win. 4 twos just by itself is like that would have been $800, but I didn't know that. I was like, do I keep the ace? Like, does it matter? I can't get another 2. Do I just draw? Do I keep the ace or do I draw for another card? What difference does it make?
See if you get a 5th too.
I know. And so my buddy's like, man, you'd keep it. What difference does it make? So I kept it, and that got me an extra $800 because if you get 4 twos with an ace, it pays. The only thing that was higher. Nice. The only thing that was higher on the whole machine was a royal flush. So I won $1,600 on a $10 bet, and then the next 36 hours was just spent trying not to lose my winnings.
By the way, so isn't that called the kicker? So that's the 4 twos with an ace kicker.
Right, correct. But it wasn't like I was playing anyone, worried that they might have 4 twos too. I thought 4 twos was all I cared about.
I just would have figured that you had to know an ace is a good kicker.
Yeah, for sure. But I didn't know it even meant anything. Like I thought I'd already hit it no matter what the 5th card was because it already told me I'd won. So yeah, man, I won $1,600, which is crazy. And then me and Stephanie just the next 36 hours tried our best not to blow it.
No, man, you should have gone on a heater. You got triple up. You got quadruple up.
Yeah, I just went to roulette and put it all on red.
There you go. Ride the hot hand.
Yeah, it's found money, Corey. At that point, man, you bust it out. You do an all-night party here. Let's go. Let's go.
No, like Ira said, I got to get a new computer. Daddy needs a new computer.
I will say this. I bet on Florida State before a single game was played this year to make the College World Series. And the odds were good, boys.
I bet they were.
I did all right for myself. So
good work.
I really am proud of this team.
I don't have any good gambling stories. That's I'm bad at this medium now. I don't have
very proud of this baseball team.
Yeah, man.
Okay, let's do this. Before we get to questions, let's have ourselves a brief discussion about the latest installment of the Top 40. so that we can maybe yell at each other or say that somebody's wrong, and or celebrate each other's selections. However we want to go about it. It's we've done all or the other before. So if you would, Ben, please post this group of top 40. This is starting at 30 with Justin Cryer, who I think will have a good season. Devontae Brown, Ryan Fitzgerald, obviously Durajaye, and Conrad Hussey. I am going to admit off the top that I failed on Conrad Hussey. I pulled an Ira where you admitted you forgot somebody last time. I forgot Hussey, although I don't feel that bad about it because I think the secondary is so loaded with so many guys that would get the bulk of that time that maybe Conrad Hussey doesn't have a huge impact, but I would have put him in my top 40 if I'd been thinking clearly. And then I think, Corey, are you apologizing to Ryan Fitzgerald?
No, it was Mastromano that I thought
okay.
I didn't rank, but I actually did rank him too. So I'm all set, man.
All right.
Old Fitzmagic and me, we go way back. I had him pretty high, I think.
That's true. You've always been a big proponent of it. You love kickers in general.
I do, especially modern kickers.
You tend to defend them to the hilt.
Might be some revisionist history here, but as far as that group, it's interesting. I think the what really kind of shows the issue we were having with this top 40 is the fact that you've got Devontae Brown and Conrad Hussey both in that 26 to 30 range because we don't know who's going to start. It could be them. It could be Duke Cooper. We don't know who's going to win that starting job next to Shaheem Brown at safety. And I mean, I'm inclined to think it's going to be Conrad Hussey, but I could make a case that it's going to be Duke Cooper or, maybe it'll be Devontae. So it's but we have the same thing with Cryer. Is he going to win out, or is Nicholson going to get more of those reps, or is the kid from from Auburn? I mean, it's just there's so much competition, which is awesome, but I think it makes this list really difficult.
I want to point out that Corey hates Devontae Brown. He does not have any interest in Devontae Brown winning a job out here, as he was the only one to not have him ranked.
Oh, come on.
Well, there's a chance that he might be the fourth string safety. But there's also a chance
he's the starter.
He's the starter. I know. That's to Ira's point. Like, there are going to be guys that we left off our list. All of us will have them that end up starting. That's what's – because you do have Duke Cooper. You do have Barker. You do have Hussey. You have Devontae Brown. Same thing with Cryer. Like, I think when you look at that list, Durajai obviously Fitz. So the four position players, Durajai is the only surefire contributor. You know what I mean?
But maybe the least contributor of any of them. I mean, honestly, he's kind of
he'll contribute more than whoever the safety is that doesn't start. But that's it. Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, but he may contribute less. He may be more of he's more of a sure thing to be in the lineup. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
But he's probably not going to produce any more than the close to probably what the guys who do make it produce. Because if Cryer ends up as a second team defensive linebacker, I think there's a chance he'll have a better production. If obviously Devontae or Hussey win this safety job, they're certainly going to have more production. So it's a weird group, but I don't think that means that this is not a really talented team. It's just there are so few clearly defined roles past maybe the top 10 or 12 guys.
Well, nobody won a job in the spring, right? Like, it's not like we looked at Devontae Brown or Hussey and it's like, well, there's the dude. No question. There's nobody went out and just captured the job. The competition is still fierce.
To Ira's point, I think it means the opposite, right, Ira? I think it means that's how good this team is, how good the floor of talent is now compared to where it was, is that we've got guys that aren't on some of our lists that we will both readily admit could have a huge impact.
If you think about where they were a few years ago, Justin Cryer, we would have said, okay, he's definitely going to start at linebacker over some of the guys they were running out there.
Easily.
But he may be third team.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see.
By the way, I also think he won't be. I think I like Justin Cryer a lot, and I think he's going to play a lot. I think he's got something to him. I think he's got some natural instincts for that position. I thought he looked good in limited time last year. I thought he looked good in the spring. So I would not be surprised at all if he was a big-time contributor and plays himself way up this list for next year.
I co-sign that. Good. Yeah, no, I think we all like him a lot. Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. I think he's a very good player. He's got a good makeup for the position. I think he's going to play well. as well. I just like that they brought in another linebacker as well, so that maybe it's in question. They needed to do that. You guys know I beat this drum, so I'm not going to overdo it here. I've been talking about this for some time, but I'm glad that we have a debate regarding the number of linebackers that may have an impact. Because in the past, I was kind of the opinion they didn't have enough to make a impact at all, much less, this kind of a debate, which is fun, which is really fun.